Okay, sige. So, our next topic would be, ano naman po yung mga pag-uusapan natin. So, next topic natin would be the vector-borne diseases. So, ibig sabihin, there is something or merong animal or insekto na nagtatransfer or nagdadala ng mga sakit na to. So, today we'll be discussing all about dengue, malaria, filariasis, schistosomiasis, leptospirosis, and rabies. Okay, so let's start with dengue. So, dengue, sometimes tinatawag din siya breakbone fever, hemorrhagic fever, dengue fever, infectious thrombocytopenic purpura. Kasi nga, ano ba yung naaapektuhan? Ano ba yung ginagawa or ano ba yung nagiging effect nito sa katawan ng tao when you become infected by dengue? So, sabi natin, dengue fever is an acute viral disease caused by one of the serotype of dengue virus which are transmitted by mosquito. So, sino yung mga mosquito na yun? So, these are the genus of mosquito na mga Aedes mosquito. It refers to a benign form of disease with systemic symptoms, fever, and often sometimes rash associated with pain behind the ears, and meron din po silang nararamdaman na joint pains or mga bone pains kapag yung isang tao ay naapektuhan ng dengue. Okay, so dengue hemorrhagic fever, this is one of the severe na nangyayari. This is a severe and sometimes fatal virus infection characterized by ano nangyari? Patient have bleeding diathesis. Ibig sabihin, nagbi-bleed yung patient. And those patient who is bleeding from dengue could pwedeng mag-cause ng hypovolemic shock. And yan po yung nagko-cause kung bakit some of patient who have dengue or nagkaroon ng dengue hemorrhagic fever is namamatay because of hypovolemic shock. So, dengue hemorrhagic fever occurs almost exclusively in indigenous population is believed to be immunology mediated. So, ibig sabihin, depende rin kasi sometimes it depends on the response ng isang tao. So, the etiologic agent is, sabi nga natin, there are different kinds of virus. We have flaviviruses 1, 2, 3, and 4. Diba? Which is a family of Toga, Viridae. These are small viruses that contain small strand viruses. Kaya ibig sabihin, hindi porket nagkaroon ka na ng dengue, hindi ka na ulit magkakaroon. Kasi ang daming klase ng virus. Diba? Meron pa tayong arboviruses group B. Diba? So, sila yung mga pwede yan. So, meaning, 5 times ka pwede magkaroon ng dengue. Imagine mo, 5 times, napakalakas mo naman nun. Diba? So, how is it transmitted? So, dengue is transmitted by a bite of infected mosquito. And these mosquito are your yellow fever mosquito, which are the Aedes aegypti. So, sila yung nagtatransmit nung sakit na yan. So, Aedes aegypti, this is a day-biting mosquito. Ibig sabihin, tuwing umaga siya, nangangagat. Kailan daw? 2 hours after sunrise and 2 hours before sunset. So, ibig sabihin, bago lumiwanag and bago magdilim, dun sila nangangagat yung mga lamok na yan. And it breeds on stagnant water. Sabihin yung mga nakastack na water, dun sila nagpapadami. It has limited and low-flying movement. So, mababa lang daw yung lipad niyan. Kaya nga sabi, yun daw mga lamok sa dengue, hindi nila kayang umakyat sa second floor unless maghagdan o kaya mag-elevator, ano. Ayan, so, joke lang po. Pero so, technically, so low-flying lang sila. So, ibig sabihin sa mga mabababang lugar lang talaga yan nakakalipad yung lamok na yan. So, it has fine white dots and at the base of its wings with white bands on the legs. Ibig sabihin, maputi. So, ano yung itsura niyan? So, ito po yung itsura ng Aedes aegypti natin or Aedes mosquito natin. So, di ba, madilaw, tapos meron siya mga white spots. Diba? So, ayan po itsura ng Aedes aegypti or yellow fever mosquito. So, meron din pong other type ng Aedes mosquito na pwede pong makakagat. So, we have what we call the Aedes albopictus. So, may contribute to transmission of dengue viral or virus in rural areas. So, ano may itsura niyan? So, medyo madilaw din siya. Diba? Pero medyo mas doon siya sa white side. Kaya siya albopictus. cocytus. Pero meron pa rin siya mga white strands na yan. Okay? Other mosquito that can act as vector is yung mga Aedes polynensis. Yan. So, pati naman basta lagi sila meron mga white, nag-iba lang yung itsura nila. Pero may mga white spots sila or stripe yung mga mosquito na yan. We also have your Aedes scutellaris simplex. O, ayan. So, ito din siya. Di ba? Yan. So, meron pong maraming klase ng Aedes mosquito natin. So, incubation period, sabi 3 to 14 days and commonly 7 to 10 days sila nag-incubate. And the period of communicability, sabi natin, patient as usually infective to mosquitoes from a day before the febrile period and the end of the febrile state. So, ibig sabihin, kapag bago ka lagnatin or hanggang matapos kang lagnatin is ibig sabihin nakakahawa yan. And most mosquito become infected from day 8 to day 12 after blood meal and remains infected throughout its life. So, ibig sabihin, halimbawa, ikaw is nakagat ka ng Aedes mosquito na may daladalang dengue. And then, before ka lagnatin or during the time na nilalagnat ka, may mosquito or mayroong lamok ulit na nakakagat sa'yo pero hindi pa siya infected or wala pa siyang infection. So, ibig sabihin, pwede niyang makuha yun sa'yo. And kapag nakuha nung isang lamok yun sa tao na infected ng dengue, so, ibig sabihin yung lamok na yun, magiging infected na siya habang buhay yung lamok na yan. So, kaya pag dumami siya ng dumami, ayan, so madali magkahawa. Kaya nga po kapag may na-dengue sa isang bahay, di ba? Ang ginagawa, nagpo-fumigate or nagpa-fogging para mawala yung mga mosquito or mamatay yung mga lamok na yan. Kasi, if some of those mosquito is not yet infected or wala pa silang daladalang virus na yan, so pag nakagat nila yung tao na merong dengue, so magiging infected na rin sila. Okay, source of infection, sabi, infected person serve as a source of infections because the virus is present in the blood of the patient during acute phase of the disease. Kaya nga, di ba, pag kinagat ka, mahahawa. So, sick people become reservoir of the virus, and when a mosquito takes a blood meal from a patient, the virus may be transmitted to the next person the mosquito will bite. So, ganun po siya na transfer. And standing water encourages breeding for the vector. Ibig sabihin, yung mga stagnant water, doon sila nagpapadami. And mostly, marami niyan sa bahay. Diba? Yung mga naghihilig magsak ng tubig, diba? Yung sa mga timba, sa drum, diba? Sa palanggana, or yung meron pa yung mga flower base. So, ginagamit nila yan na doon sila nagpapadami. So, incident, sabi natin, in terms of age, dengue may occur at any age, but pinaka-common yan sa mga bata between 4 to 9 years old of age. So, sila yung mas maraming nagkakakuha ng dengue. So, in terms of sexes, so both sexes are affected with dengue. Season, so kailan ba yan dumadami? Diba? So, dumadami siya tuwing, tuwing rainy season. Kasi nga, pag umuulan, maraming nai-stock na tubig. And that's the time na pwede sila magpadami ng magpadami. Okay, so location, dengue is more prevalent in urban than rural areas. Doon sa mga siksikan, di ba? Doon sa mga kadalasan nagpapadami. So, what are the clinical manifestation if you will become infected by dengue virus? So, sabi natin, dengue virus frequently produces apparent infection. When symptoms develop, ano yung mga makikita natin? So, may 3 clinical patterns siyang makikita. First, classic sign ng dengue. After incubation period, short prodromal symptoms appear, characterized by what? Patient may experience malaise and anorexia up to 12 hours. And then, meron siyang fever and chills. Plus, masakit yung ulo ng pasyente, usually frontal headache. Plus, may retroorbital pain. Yung likod ng mata, sumasakit din. Diba? There is myalgia with severe backache, so masakit yung mga kalamnan ng pasyente, pati kasukasuan niya, sumasakit din po. Diba? Especially daw sa lumbar area yung mga sumasakit dyan sa patient na yan. Okay, fever is non-remitting and persists for 3 to 6 days. So, continuously nilalagnat yung pasyente. Kaya nga po kapag 3 days ka nang nilalagnat, it's better na magpa-check up. It's better to magpa-check kasi baka mamaya, baka mamaya dengue na yon. Kaya pag 3 days na, nagpapa-dengue test na tayo. And then, the rash is more prominent on the extremities and trunk and may involve the face in some isolated cases. Pero kadalasan sa katawan nagkakaroon ng rash yung mga patient na nagkaka-dengue. And yung rash na yun, yan yung tinatawag natin na petechia or petechia. So usually appear near the end of the febrile period and are commonly found on the lower extremities of the patient natin. Next naman, atypical dengue. So symptoms of mild atypical illness includes fever, anorexia, headache, and myalgia. So, tandaan, meron laging fever. Tapos, merong hindi nawawala ng gana kumain yung pasyente or parang nasusuka, di ba? Or ayaw niyang kumain, di ba? So, may headache. Then, evanescent or quickly disappearing rash may develop. So, this lasts for 72 hours or 3 days natin. And the third is the dengue hemorrhagic fever. Sabi ko nga kanina, this is the pinaka-fatal or pinaka-serious type ng dengue. So, this form of dengue virus infection is manifested by fever, hemorrhagic diathesis, hepatomegaly, and hypovolemic shock. So, ibig sabihin, nagbi-bleed na yung patient. So, how will we see if nagbi-bleed yung patient? Diba? Pwedeng nagno-nosebleed, gum bleed, or pwedeng internal bleeding. Diba? And also, the liver is affected. So, namamaga yung liver ni patient. If hemorrhage continues, diba, continuously nagbi-bleed yung pasyente, it will lead to hypovolemic shock. So, severe dengue or dengue hemorrhagic fever was first recognized in 1950s during the dengue epidemic in the Philippines and in Thailand. So, today, it affects most Asian and Latin American countries and has become a leading cause of hospitalization and death among children and adults in this region. So, marami po namamatay or naapektuhan yan kapag hindi po talaga na-manage agad si dengue. So, the manifestation of dengue includes positive tourniquet test. Paano ba yung tourniquet test? Diba? Yung using your BP cuff, i-inflate mo yung BP ni patient. Then, mag-a-appear ngayon yung mga petechia dun sa part na na-impede ng blood circulation. Ibig sabihin kasi, yung mga small vessel or yung capillaries natin, pumuputok siya. Yan, kaya nagpupula-pula. Okay? There is also petechia, sabi purpura, may pasa-pasa, epistaxis, gum bleeding, hematemesis or pwedeng melena or thrombocytopenia. And then, sa CBC, there is hemoconcentration which your hematocrit increases by 20%. Sabihin, lumalapot yung dugo ng pasyente. Okay, sa thrombocytopenia naman, sabihin yung platelet, di ba, is affected na din. So, yan. Dengue shock syndrome is diagnosed when the patient exhibits a rapid, weak pulse with narrowing of the pulse pressure less than 20 mm mercury. Ibig sabihin, pag binipi mo yung pasyente, magkalapit yung systolic and diastolic. Diba? The normal should be dapat more than 20 or 40 dapat yung difference nila. Okay, so or hypotension with cold, clammy skin, and restless na po yung patient natin pagdating dyan sa dengue shock syndrome. Okay, so what will be the phases? Ano ba yung makikita? So, initial phase, yung tinatawag natin initial febrile phase, which is 2 to 3 days na nilalagnat yung pasyente, diba, na may kasamang headache. And positive nga po sa tourniquet test with anorexia, vomiting, and myalgia, masakit yung katawan, and generalized or abdominal pain. Okay, so kanina ko pa sinasabi yung tourniquet test. So, para mas visualize nyo, di ba, para hindi makalimutan. So, here's a video on how tourniquet test is being done. Tayo mag-play.
The tourniquet test, also known as Hess-Tester-Rumpel lead test, or simply capillary fragility test, determines capillary fragility. It is a clinical diagnostic method to determine a patient's hemorrhagic tendency. It assesses fragility of capillary walls and is used to identify thrombocytopenia. The test is part of the World Health Organization algorithm for diagnosis of dengue fever. The blood pressure cuff is applied and inflated to the midpoint between the systolic and diastolic blood pressures for 5 minutes. The test is positive if there are more than 10 petechiae per square inch.
Yan, so ganyan po yung lumalabas dun sa patient kapag nag-tourniquet test. So sabi, pag daw more than 10 sa isang square inch, so ibig sabihin isang square na ganyan, yan po yung mangyayari kay patient. So bibilangin mo kung more than 10 siya. Okay? So ganyan po ginagawa yung tourniquet test. Okay, then sabi natin there will be febrile convulsion may occur. So ibig sabihin, if continuously high yung fever ni patient, pwede mag-convulsion yung pasyente. Kaya po dapat, kapag may dengue, hindi po natin pinapabayaan na tumataas or continuously high yung temperature. Kaya continuous TSB po yung ginagawa kay patient. Okay? Ano pa daw? There could be maculopapular or petechial rash may be present and usually start in the distal portion of the extremities, sparing the axilla and chest. So the skin appears purple and blanched areas with varied size. So this is known as your Hermann's sign, which is the pathognomonic sign for dengue. So itsura niya, so ito po yung tsura ng pasyente, di ba? Para siya nagpapatsi-patsi na yung patient natin. Okay, so the palmar are usually flush, mapula daw yan. So hemorrhagic manifestation like purpura epistaxis, gum bleeding may be present na sa kanya. Okay, next, circulatory phase. Ano naman nangyayari sa circulatory phase? Temperature drops and is accompanied by profound circulatory changes, usually during the 3rd to 5th day. So, ibig sabihin, bumababa na yung temperature ni patient. So, kung pababa na, lumalamig na, o di ba yung skin ni patient, cold, clammy skin na si patient. Tapos, restless na yung pasyente. And cyanosis may also be present during the circulatory phase. So, ibig sabihin, pag yan ka circulatory, affected na yung circulatory volume ng pasyente natin. Ibig sabihin, there is profound thrombocytopenia accompanies the onset of shock. Ibig sabihin, nagbi-bleed na yung pasyente. Sabi, bababa na yung platelet ng pasyente natin. And kapag nag-bleed yan, di ba, hanggang sa gastrointestinal tract, di ba, very severe or lalong lumalala na yan. Di ba, meron akong naging patient dati, GIT, nag-bleed talaga. Paano namin nalaman? Naka-NGT yung pasyente, tapos pag-aspirate nung NGT, so blood yung lumalabas sa kanya. Diba? And shock may occur due to loss of plasma from the intravascular spaces. So hemoconcentration is marked, elevated hematocrit is present. Kaya nga po, kapag may dengue, very important yung hydration. Kasi ayaw natin bumagsak yung blood volume, ayaw natin bumagsak or mawala yung plasma or yung fluid dun sa blood ni patient natin. And then since di ba papunta sa shock, pulse is rapid and weak kasi nagko-compensate yung katawan. Diba? Pulse pressure becomes narrow. Diba? Kaya nga po pag chinek mo yung map ni patient, magkalapit yung BP, yung systolic and diastolic pressure ni patient. And then the blood pressure may drop to an obtainable level. Hanggang hirap na hirap mo na hindi mo na makuha yung BP no pasyente. So, untreated shock may result in coma and metabolic acidosis. Then, death may occur within 2 days. So, pag di nahabol, kaya mahalaga po dyan, ma-hydrate yung pasyente. Pero kapag naman nalagpasan na niya yan, di ba, the patient recovery may follow in 2 to 3 days if effective yung therapy. Effective therapy is administered. Ibig sabihin, na-hydrate, na-prevent natin na continuously mag-bleed yung patient natin. Okay, so meron daw may ibang klaseng classification ng dengue, depende sa kung gaano siya ka-severe, gaano kalala. Diba? We have your grade 1. So, fever accompanied by non-specific constitutional symptoms and only hemorrhagic manifestation is positive. Positive is yung tourniquet test lang niya. So, grade 1 lang yun. Grade 2 naman, kapag all signs of grade 1 plus meron ng bleeding si patient. Saan yung bleeding? Pwede sa nose, sa gum, o gastrointestinal tract. So, paano nga natin malalaman kung nagbibilid na sa GI3? Sabihin, maitim yung pupo ni patient. That's why, di ba kaya sabi, bawal po yung mga dark colored food for patient na merong dengue para hindi natin ma-mistake o hindi tayo magkamali na ay kaya umitim yung pupo niya dahil lang pala sa kinain. Or hindi, basta yun lang sinabi pero nagbi-bleed naman na pala yung pasyente natin. And the grade 3, the presence of circulatory failure is manifested by weak pulse, narrow pulse pressure, hypotension, cold, clammy skin, and restless. So, yun, nagbi-bleed na talaga siya. And, grade 4, profound shock occurs. So, blood pressure and pulse become undetectable. So, hindi mo na ma-BP yung pasyente, wala ka na makuhang BP. Okay? So, yan po yung mga classification na from grade 1 to grade 4. So, diagnostics nga, sabi natin, we can do tourniquet test as screening. But, siyempre, mas mahalaga pa din yung check yung platelet count ni patient. Diba? Kung bumabagsak. Diba? Pag mababa, ayan. Sabi nga dito, platelet count is the confirmatory test. Diba? Pero kaya meron na rin po tayo mga ginagawa, yung dengue NS1. So, yung dengue NS1 is checking if there is a presence of blood, virus dun sa blood mo. Or, pwede rin po yan na nagpapassive ka, diba? IgG, IgM yan. If you have present infection or meron ka ng dating infection sa dengue or nagkaroon ka na ng virus na yan. So, how will we treat dengue? Sabi natin, there is no effective antiviral therapy for dengue fever. Kasi kahit sabihin natin na viral yan, wala daw effective. So, kaya ang ginagawa sa dengue, ang treatment sa kanya ay symptomatic and supportive treatment. Sabihin, kung ano yung symptoms ni patient, yun yung gagawing management. Di ba? Naglalagnat yung pasyente. Masakit yung ulo, masakit yung katawan. Di ba? So, we can give analgesics. Pero tandaan, bawal si aspirin. Kasi pwedeng mag-cause ng bleeding si aspirin. Kaya pinaka-safe na binibigay is si analgesic or paracetamol or acetaminophen natin. Okay, the initial phase may require intravenous infusion. So, IV, para ma-hydrate yung pasyente. Kasi ayaw natin na ma-dehydrate yung pasyente natin. And para ma-replace daw yung plasma. Kasi di ba nga, nawawala. Okay, so trial transfusion is indicated in patient with severe bleeding. So, ano yung itatransfuse kay patient? So, kadalasan, ang tinatransfuse sa kanya, platelet. Okay, pag wala pang platelet, pwede yung plasma, pheresis. So, pwedeng yan yung mga ibigay kay patient na transfusion. Okay, so we can also patient put on high oxygen therapy, lalo na kapag nasa shock phase na yung patient natin. So, in some cases, patient may be given sedatives, 'di ba, para mabawasan yung anxiety and yung pag-aalala nila during a dengue. So, maintenance of patient's body fluid volume is critical to severe dengue. So, pinakamahalaga ang body fluid. So, kaya nag-IV infusion and sometimes din pala pag wala pang blood, so nagbibigay po ng voluven or yung heta starch. So, yung plasma heta starch. Yan. So, yung plasma expander natin. So, kaya mahalaga naman, mahalaga yung merong na-hydrate yung pasyente. Hindi niyo mapansin, di ba? Uminom ng maraming tubig. Yan. So, sabi nga, yung, di ba, yung nauso yung tawa-tawa. So, actually, hindi talaga yun. Kasi nga, di ba, nangyari lang doon, because of that, nagpakulo ka, pinapainom, nahahydrate ka. So, yun yung nagiging tulong nun, yung treatment dun sa patient. Okay, so how will we prevent and control dengue? So, early detection and treatment of cases, diba? So, treatment of mosquito nets with insecticide. So, yung mga kula-kulambo. Pero ngayon, parang hindi na masyadong uso yung nagkukulambo, ano? Puro screen na yung bahay. Yan. House spraying para mamatay yung mga lamok, mga insecticide, diba? Yung mga baygon. Ano may uso kayo? Butiki. Yan. So, eliminate the vector, diba? Para hindi sila dumami. Paano papa-eliminate? Diba? Saan sila daw nag-stay? Stagnant water. So, kaya kailangan, lagi daw, pinapalitan, ni-scrub yung mga flower bases at least once a week. Kasi pwede silang dyan mangitlog, magpadami. Diba? Destroy breeding places of mosquito. Kaya kailangan laging naglilinis. And keep water containers covered. So, kung nag-i-stock kayo ng tubig, dapat may takip para hindi sila dun makakapangitlog. And ayan, avoid hanging too many clothes inside the house. Kasi dyan din sila nagtatago. Diba? So, kaya dapat naglilinis po talaga. Okay, so nursing management, sabi the patient should be kept in mosquito-free environment to avoid further transmission of the infection. Yan, so kaya nga diba, naka-isolate, diba, or nagpapaging. Diba? Keep patient at rest during bleeding episode kasi nga nagbi-bleed na. Kaya dapat bed rest siya. So monitor the vital signs, especially yung blood pressure ng patient natin. So kaya mapapansin nyo din kahit pediatric, kapag na dengue yung diagnosis, di ba? Pinapa-BP. O, pero tandaan mo ba, may pediatric BP cuff tayo na ginagamit. So, for nosebleed, elevate the patient trunk and apply ice bag to the bridge of the nose and forehead. So, para mag-stop yung bleeding. O, hindi papatingalain pag nagbi-bleed na, papayukuin lang po siya. So, observe for signs of shock, such as yung slow pulse, cold clammy skin na ba yung pasyente mo, diba? Prostration and decrease na yung blood pressure. So, restless na yung patient. Mababa pa yung BP. So, restore blood volume. So, put patient in Trendelenburg position to provide greater volume to the head. So, pag bagsak yung BP, so, ginagawa yung Trendelenburg. Pero ngayon, ang ginagawa na lang, tinataas na lang yung, dati kasi literal na, binabaliktad yung pasyente. Diba? Nakabaliktad si patient. Pero ngayon, pwede na lang ang ginagawa nila, nakahiga yung pasyente, yung legs na lang yung ine-elevate. Diba? Kasi ngayon yung dose study, hindi na siya super effective na pagbalik ng, or blood volume yung Trendelenburg. Pero marami pa rin pong gumagawa ng Trendelenburg. So, epistaxis and menorrhagia. This is one of the complications. Ibig sabihin yung pagbi-bleed. Diba? Gastrointestinal bleeding, and ayan, concomitant gastrointestinal disorder or pwede magkaroon ng peptic ulcer si patient natin. Ayan, so marami pwedeng maging complication. Ano pa? Dengue hemorrhagic, ano yung manifestation? Metabolic acidosis, hyperkalemia, tichyanoxia, kasi nga, di ba, yung blood volume kulang na. Di ba? Hemorrhage into the CNS or pwedeng adrenal glands or pwede rin pong mag-cause ng myocarditis. And severe dengue is potentially deadly due to yan, plasma leaking, respiratory distress, severe bleeding, and organ impairments. Kasi nga, kulang yung blood volume. So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng masira yung organs ni patient. So, warning signs occur 3 to 7 days after first symptoms appear in conjunction with the decrease in temperature. So, pag biglang bumaba, diba yan, yung abdominal pain, persistent vomiting, rapid restlessness, rapid breathing or restlessness and fatigue ng pasyente natin. And sabi natin, bleeding gums and vomiting of blood. Diba? So, yan po yung mga kailangan natin i-watch out kasi yan na, sabihin, nagko-complicate na yung patient. In the next 24 to 48 hours of critical stage can be lethal. So, ibig sabihin, hindi mamatay. So, therefore, nurses should be vigilant and ensure proper medical care is provided and avoid complications and death. So, kaya mahalaga po yung monitoring for patient na merong dengue. And there are some cases that yung mga napapunta sa dengue hemorrhagic shock, so na-ICU po yung mga pasyente na nade-dengue para ma-closely monitored yung patient natin. Alright, may question po ba sa dengue? Clarification? Wala. Okay. So, kung wala, let's now move with another disease that caused by mosquito. We have what we call the malaria or si ague. So, malaria is an acute and chronic parasitic disease transmitted by a bite of infected female Anopheles naman. So, kanina Aedes, ngayon Anopheles mosquito. And it is confined mainly to tropical and subtropical areas. So, it causes more disability and heavier economic burden than any other parasitic disease. Bakit? Ano ba yung etiologic agent natin sa malaria? So, sabi nga natin, yun daw, malaria, this is a protozoan o mayroong nag-transmit niyan ng mga Plasmodium. So, meron pong 4 na species. We have your Plasmodium falciparum. So, malignant tertian is responsible for most death of malaria. And it is predominantly found in sub-Saharan countries, New Guinea, Haiti, India, Eastern Asia, kasama po si Philippines. So, meron pong Plasmodium falciparum sa Pilipinas. And it's considered as the most serious malarial infection because of the development of high parasitic densities in the red blood cells with tendency to agglutinate and form microbials. Ibig sabihin, nasisira din po kasi yung RBC. Diba? Diyan sila nagpapadami. Next is si Plasmodium vivax. O, vivax, hindi Vivamax, ano? Okay, so it's a prevalent in South America and Eastern Asia. So, it is not life-threatening but it is life-threatening, pero not life-threatening except pag sobrang bata or sobrang tanda na. So, patient may manifest chills every 48 hours on the 3rd day onward, especially if left untreated. So, next is your Plasmodium malariae or quartan. So, it's not common but is found in both West and Central Africa. So, fever and chills usually occur every 72 hours, usually on the 4th day of the onset, and it's not life-threatening. And bihira naman siyang makita. Okay, the last is your Plasmodium ovale. It is the rarest type and it's very uncommon sa Pilipinas. So, ang common si Plasmodium falciparum. So, primary vector of malaria is a female, tandaan na, female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, so saan naman sila nagpapadami? So, si Anopheles mosquito naman, anong favorite nila? They breed in clear, flowing, shaded stream usually in the mountains. So, ibig sabihin, yung malinis na tubig na nagpo-flow tapos may cover. Diba? Kaya kung makita nyo yung mga sa Palawan, diba? Ayan, it's very endemic kasi dyan yung malaria. Kasi nga, marami silang mga rivers, marami silang mga streams dun sa Palawan. So, they are brown colored and bigger in size than the other species. So, malalaki yung lamok na yan. There are night biting. So, ito yung mga panggabi naman. Di ba? Wala takas, no? Sa umaga, dengue. Sa gabi, malaria naman yun ang nga. So, they usually do not bite a person in motion. So, ibig sabihin, pag gumagalaw ka, hindi ka kakagatin yan. So, ang gusto nila yung mga naka-steady lang. Ayan. So, yung mga mahilig na nakaupo lang. So, they assume a 36-degree position when they alight in walls, trees, and curtains. Basta dumapo yan, naka 36 degrees daw po yung itsura ng position nila. Okay, incubation period, 12 days for Plasmodium falciparum, 14 days for Plasmodium vivax and ovale, and 30 days for Plasmodium malariae. So, period of communicability, untreated or insufficiently treated patient may be source of infection for more than 3 years kapag Plasmodium malariae. 1 to 2 years naman pag Plasmodium vivax and not more than 1 year kay Plasmodium falciparum. So, siya yung pinaka-common pero sila kami naiksi naman ng communicability niya. So, how is it transmitted niya? Through mechanical transmission through bite of infected Anopheles mosquito. So, parenteral, pwede rin po yan. Halimbawa, nakagat. Diba? Tapos, halimbawa, ikaw yung may dengue, tapos nag-donate ka ng blood. Nandun pa rin yung ano pa rin yung Plasmodium falciparum dun sa blood mo. So, pwede po siyang matransfer. So, in rare occasions, sharing of contaminated needles, pwede rin po yan. Transplacental, so meron tayong congenital malaria, pero rare cases naman po. Yan. So, this is the itsura, very cool. Ito po itsura ng Anopheles mosquito. So, reddish, diba, na mas malaki po siya kaysa sa dengue or yung mga other na mosquito. So, ano din mga manifestations niyan? Sabi, in adults, the first symptoms are non-specific and it is characterized by malaise, headache, fatigue, abdominal discomfort, and muscle pains. So, meron din siya. Halos magkamukha din sila ng sa dengue. So, kaso sa kanya, spiking fever with severe headache. Sabihin, biglang tumataas yung temp niya, tapos masakit ulo, then may chills, nausea, and vomiting, and nagkakaroon din ng orthostatic hypotension si patient. Ibig sabihin, pag sudden changes of movement, nagdadrop yung BP ni patient. So, profuse sweating. So, also affected din po ang spleen and liver of the patient. So, lumalaki po yung spleen saka liver. Okay, so myalgia, ayan, feeling of being, well-being in between attacks. So, sasakit yung katawan, tapos pag-okay, tapos sasakit ulit yung katawan. So, there will be paroxysm may last for 12 hours and then may repeat daily after a day or two. So, pwedeng alternate. Sasakit, mawawala. Babalik. Pwedeng ganun yung nangyayari sa kanya. Sa mga bata naman, continuous fever. Diba? Pwede pong continuous fever and pwede nga mag-convulsion yung pasyente. And then, gastrointestinal symptoms are prominent. So, sumasakit siyan. Yan. Splenomegaly, and pwede pong mag-cause din ng nephrotic syndrome. Ibig sabihin, the kidney of a child could be affected din. Okay, next is your cerebral malaria. Pag cerebral, tandaan, cerebral, ibig sabihin, sa brain. So, pag may brain, so, there will be changes in sensorium, severe headache, pwede mag-vomit. And patient may experience seizure. It's either Jacksonian seizure or grand mal seizure. Ibig sabihin, buong katawan yung nginginig-ginig dun sa patient. So, most physicians divided the symptoms into two categories. We have the uncomplicated, which is symptoms of uncomplicated typically last for 6 to 10 hours and recur every second day. So, ibig sabihin, yan, lalamig, nanginginig siya, di ba? Fever, headache, and vomiting. And seizure sometimes occur in younger people with the disease. And sweats followed by return to normal temperature. So, ibig sabihin, lalagnatin yung pasyente, mag-spike yung temp niya, tapos 12 hours, tapos bigla mawawala, di ba? Bababa yung temp kasi pinagpawisan, pero feeling niya pagod na pagod siya. Tapos after 2 days, lalagnatin ulit si patient. Okay, next is the severe malaria. So, in severe malaria, clinical or laboratory evidence shows signs of vital organ dysfunction. Ibig sabihin, spleen, liver is affected. Diba sabi ko kanina? So, lumalabas na yung mga sintomas na yan. So, fever, chills. Ayan, pwede rin impaired na yung consciousness. So, GCS is deprived or the neurovital sign ng pasyente is mababa na. Okay, so, how will we diagnose? So, we can do malarial smear. Sabi, it's a film of blood is placed in slide, stained, and examined microscopically sa silipin niya. So, rapid diagnostic test are blood tests for malaria that can be conducted outside the laboratory and are usually ginagamit sa field yan. So, results are produced within 10 to 15 minutes and it is done to detect malarial parasite antigen dun sa katawan natin. So, ito yung pinakapabilis. Pero syempre, pinaka-okay pa rin. Titingnan yung smear kung talagang present. So, how is it managed? So, we can give your anti-malarial drugs. This is to prevent or cure. Pag sinabing prevent, para hindi ka magkaroon or para gamutin din siya. So, eto po, pwede po siyang inumin para ma-prevent na magkaroon. Halimbawa, pupunta ka nga sa mga endemic areas like Palawan. Endemic ang malaria sa Palawan. Diba? So, ang gagawin mo, prior ka pumunta, magte-take ka ng anti-malarial drugs. So, ginawa ko po to dati nung first time ko po pumunta ng Palawan, and then parang sikat na sikat yung malaria during that time. So, ayan. So, uminom muna ako ng gamot bago ako nag-travel. Para sure na kahit makagat ako ng lamok dun sa Palawan, hindi ako magkaka-malaria. So, ano yung mga gamot na yan? So, we can give your chloroquine except for Plasmodium malaria. So, pwede siya kahit saan, pero hindi niya kaya si Plasmodium malaria. So, quinine and other related agents, pwede ba yan? Sulfadoxine or resistant for Plasmodium falciparum. Halimbawa, yung chloroquine hindi tumalab. So, pwedeng sulfadoxine ang ibigay kay patient. Okay, meron din tayong Premakin for relapse ng Plasmodium vivax and for Plasmodium ovale, Artemisinin and its derivatives, and erythrocyte exchange transfusion for high-level parasite in blood. So, pag masyado mataas, pwede pong transfusion si patient natin. Okay, so paano nga ba yan mape-prevent and makokontrol yung malaria? So, report agad if there is cases of malaria. So, this kasama po sa reportable disease. So, provide adequate screening for all infected persons from mosquito. Kasi nga, di ba, pwede silang mahahawa. And di ba, for more than a year, pwede niyang i-shed na sa kanya yung mga, ano na yan, yung mga, yung protozoa na yan. Yung mga itlog. So, destroy mosquito breeding places. So, kaya naghahawan po dapat, di ba? Kaya dapat maganda yung sikat ng araw. Okay? So, spray homes with insecticides that have residual action on the wall. Yung merong nag-i-stay para pag dapo nila doon, patay sila. Diba? Use mosquito nets when sleeping in affected areas. So, apply insect repellent to expose portion of the body. Yan. So, screen blood donors properly. Kasi nga baka meron kasama. So, people living in malaria-infested area should not donate blood for at least 3 years. Kung siya nakatira, so 3 years. Kasi nga, di ba, pwedeng magstay up to 3 years yung malaria sa katawan ni patient. So, nursing management, assess the patient on admission and daily thereafter for fatigue, fever, or disorientation, and hypotension. So, kasama yun sa ina-assess natin lagi. So, ensure or enforce bed rest during the acute illness. And apply standard precaution, protect patient from secondary bacterial infection. So, ibig sabihin, yan, mga hand washing, kasi baka mahawa. So, implement strict monitoring of intake and output of your patient to prevent yung pulmonary edema or electrolyte imbalance. So, strict, hindi po hulaan yung IN po. Monitor patient serum bilirubin, BUN creatinine, and parasitic count daily. So, titignan kung bumababa na ba, diba, during the treatment. So, determine arterial blood gas and plasma electrolytes if respiratory and renal symptoms are present. Kasi baka nga kung apektado na po yung kidney ni patient or yung respiration ni patient, diba? So, administer antipyretic as ordered by the physician. So, during the febrile stage, tepid sponge bath, alcohol rubs, and ice cups on the heads will help reduce the temperature. Pero ngayon, ito ay hindi na ginagawa si alcohol rubs. Diba yung usually yung pag magti-TSB, nilalagyan ng kasamang alcohol yung tubig sa palanggana, tapos yun. So ngayon hindi na po siya kasi sabi, yung alcohol daw nagpo-produce din ng heat sa katawan. So hindi rin mawawala yung temperature ni patient. So kaya TSB na lang ng cold water or yung malamig na tubig, or pwede naman po room temperature. So, apply external heat and offer hot drinks during chilling stage. Diba? Pwede po ilawan, i-drop light ng pasyente, tapos inom ng maligam-gam na tubig. Yan. So, observe for magkakaroon ng aspiration. So, provide comfort and psychological support dun sa patient. Diba? Watch for signs of neurologic toxicity. Diba? Yung kasi yung kinin nakakasira, or parang merong neurologic side effects siya. Diba? So, check nyo kung nagkakaroon ba ng twitching yung pasyente, nadideliryo ba yung pasyente, confused, kung ano. So, ibig sabihin, assess yung orientation, di ba, yung pasyente, yung consciousness ng patient natin. So, consider severe malaria as a medical emergency that requires close monitoring of vital signs. And as temperature falls and sweating begins, warm sponge bath may be given. Kasi baka mamaya, bumagsak naman yung temperature ni patient natin. So, ganyan po yung gagawin natin. Okay, may question po ba sa malaria? May clarification? All clear? Malinaw po tayo? Sure? Sure. Okay? Sige. So, hanggang dyan lang muna po sa malaria yung i-discuss ko. Baka mamaya kasi sabihin sobrang dami naman. So, we will continue next week with schistosomiasis, filariasis, saka ano pa isa? Rabies. And yung leptospirosis.